Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Natalie from Living the Dream Permaculture, and I've had a little bit of a break from YouTube. I needed to simplify my life a little bit, but I feel like I need to jump back on here and get my channel going again. So I thought, why not start off with a day in the life? Now we are in the middle of winter. We have just passed the winter solstice. I think that was last Tuesday. So just a little bit over a week now. So it's pretty quiet in the garden. I'm not doing too much. I've taken a break, trying to rest before spring comes because it gets quite hectic and crazy. And I wanted to just recharge my batteries before spring starts, and spring prep will start. It's July tomorrow. So I'll start my spring prep at the end of July. So I don't really have that much left before it's all systems go. But let's jump into it. Let's get stuck into a day in the life of a homesteading, homeschooling mum. We are on school holidays at the moment. It is winter holidays, and I'm not going to be gardening all that much, but this is what my days usually consist of. So let's start with breakfast. This is some roasted broccoli that I made yesterday for lunch. Or brunch. It was breakfast and lunch combined together. It's just broccoli and cheese and some herby salt, sea salt. And I also need to get on top of last night's dishes that I didn't finish, put away some of the dishes in the drying rack, and deal with some of this produce. So in here we have a whole lot of supermarket produce. Now, if you've been following along on Instagram, you'll know a little bit more about this situation, but we collect 3,500 litres of supermarket waste a week, and often we get perfect produce in here that's too good to just feed out to the pigs or the sheep or the cattle or the chickens and ducks and stuff. So we kind of pick out the best, and we supplement our garden, especially through the winter months when it's a little bit more boring, with some of this supermarket produce. So this is what I have left until next Sunday, and I've been using garden produce as well. So at the moment in the garden, I've got a whole lot of carrots stood on a piece of charcoal from the wood-fired oven. But we've got a whole lot of carrots coming in from the garden, a lot of greens, a lot of lettuce, and broccoli is coming in as well. I also have a lot of pumpkins in storage, onions as well in storage, and garlic. And then I have the preserved cupboard where I've got a lot of my tomato based products that I preserved, a lot of apple based products that I preserved. So that's all in there. And then we also have the big pantry where I do the yearly shop. I do a big yearly shop. It costs about $2,000 for the year. That's Australian. And it's all organic, and it's things like grains and legumes and spices and oil and vinegar and what else do we have in there? I'll take you in there in a minute. Rice, all that sort of stuff. And that goes in my big pantry, and that's usually a year's worth of produce, maybe a little bit more. This is the I don't want to say the overflow. This is what I use in my kitchen, so the easy access kind of pantry. And then I have the overflow elsewhere. And so this just basically is raw ingredients, nuts, seeds, and the like. So I use that a lot during the winter months because we don't grow as much. I mean, we do grow and the garden can still produce, but it's just not as productive as it is in summer. In summer, we can eat solely from the garden without having to supplement with preserved goods, because we're growing it all. So let's have a look at my day, and I'll get started by warming up my breakfast and cleaning up the kitchen. So I'll put you on time lapse. So one thing about us and our family is that we don't have a microwave. We got rid of it about 10 years ago, and the thing that I used it for the most was to reheat leftovers. We eat a lot of leftovers in this house, but it is very doable to live without a microwave. You just have to learn a new rhythm, basically. Instead of having instant food and being able to grab it out of the fridge and put it into the microwave to reheat, you have to kind of get your timings a bit right. 20 to 30 minutes before you want to have lunch or reheat whatever it is that you want to eat, you need to grab it out of the fridge and either put it in the oven or put it in a frying pan to slowly heat up. And you do get used to it. It's very normal for me. But a lot of people, and even at the time when we got rid of it, it's like homesteading and growing your own food. It's getting used to that and changing your mindset and shifting what you've learned and how you manage your household in that way. So yeah, like I said, we reheat in a frying pan or in the oven, and it just takes me to think about my time and pulling it out half an hour before I want to eat. So the kids each have chores in the morning. Jai has to empty the dishwasher from the night before. Israel unlocks the animals, and Zara, she bludgers a little bit in the morning, but she is starting to learn how to help unload the dishwasher with Jai, especially if there's something else that I can get Jai to do. She'll end up on the dishwasher, but she'll have her turn on the dishwasher later today after we wash the breakfast dishes. So the younger two are having strained yogurt. So I take the raw yogurt that I made and I strain it like you just saw to make it much thicker. It's just a nicer consistency. And then this is some apples that I canned late summer. So foraged apples from the side of the road that I canned, and I put that on top, and that will be the younger two's breakfast. But I'm not sure what Israel's going to eat yet because he doesn't love yogurt. He used to eat a lot as a baby, and I think he has a little bit of an aversion to it because of that. But he can figure out his own breakfast if he doesn't want to eat what's going. While my breakfast is warming up, I'm going to keep going in the kitchen and finish tidying it up. So let's go. This is my homemade dishwashing powder. It's super easy to make. I have a reel on Instagram on how to make this, and it will be so much cheaper than the stuff you can buy. So dishwasher's going on, and I wash a couple of things by hand, like these lids and this pan that didn't wash last time, and I'm good to get on to the next task. So something about the homestead kitchen is that there are always dishes, especially when you're cooking from scratch, which most homesteaders tend to do. There's always a pile of dishes. And so the dishwasher went on last night after dinner, but there were a few things that didn't fit in there, and so I'll get them done this morning before, the breakfast dishes get done, and then I need to start lunch fairly soon, so I'll have some more dishes. I also have a couple of buckets of milk. A friend of mine is fasting at the moment, and that means that she is not eating any animal products. And so we're getting all the milk from her milk cow. And I've kind of taken a break from preserving and all that sort of stuff. Like I said, this is my season of rest. So I'm only making butter and then turning that into ghee. So it's shelf stable. And then with some of the skim milk, I'll make ricotta, and then I can make gnocchi with those. So that's probably going to be my next task, which means my kitchen bench is going to fill up with dishes again.
I've also run out of my dishwashing liquid. I make this with olive oil, so it's a castor oil liquid soap. It's different to a solid bar of soap, but that's my last lot. So I will be making a batch of castor oil soap today, and I'll show you some of that. I won't explain it so much, but you'll be able to see some of the process of making the soap. So it's not a really busy day in terms of, you know, I haven't got the garden to tend to and we don't have to do any schoolwork, but there are a few little bits and pieces that need to get done, like the butter and the soap and putting some clothes away. And then if I have some time, actually I've got to do some paperwork, and then obviously lunch and dinner's mostly prepped. Tonight I have a Zoom class with my self-sufficiency crash course that I do. It's a 6-week course where I teach people how to grow their own food and live self-sufficiently. So that's on tonight, so dinner's nearly prepped. And then if I have any spare time in between all those chores, I'm going to sew a skirt. So I'm going to start a skirt. So hopefully I can get to that because I'm really looking forward to making some more of my own clothes. So I'm eating paleo at the moment, just trying to deal with some inflammation before we get into the thick of summer, spring and summer, where it's really busy. So yeah, doing a bit of a detox. So not eating any gluten, trying not to eat any grains, and not eating any sugar, and only eating raw dairy. So I'm going to prep some sweet potato as a snack. Just in case I get hungry, I can easily grab something to eat. That's the thing about having only raw ingredients in the house, is that you need to be on top of it. If you want food ready to go, you need to really be on top of food prep. So doing some of that while I'm waiting for my breakfast to reheat. Now, this pan I don't wash. Sounds gross, but I cooked my sweet potato in it yesterday. There's a little bit of ghee left in the bottom. A little bit of ghee left in the bottom, so I'll just add some more ghee onto that, and I might pop that in my oven while it's on, and then I'll finish it off on my stovetop. So this is how I skim my cream, because I don't have a house cow. It's not all that regular, but I find it just as easy considering all I have to wash is a ladle. So I get a good ladle and I pop it in a jar. I'm going to have to use my other hand because I don't want to get milk all over my floor. But yeah, just pop it into a jar, and then I will process it into butter a little bit later. So we brought this little lamb over. She's about 6 weeks old. How you got cute little bar. Her mum is an older ewe, and we find that the older the girls are, the more susceptible they are to scours. And she ended up losing her milk. So her bag really seemed like it dried up. So we brought little lamb over here so we can give her a bottle, get her used to a bottle, and then we'll reunite her with her mum shortly. And that way we'll have this little ewe lamb coming. We'll have this little ewe lamb that we'll be able to save, because if she doesn't have milk at this young, she won't thrive and she'll probably end up dying. But yeah, she's a little cutie. She is a Wiltshire cross Dorper, so yeah, a little bit different than the purebreds. Her mum has horns and her dad doesn't, so it'll be interesting to see what this one will have. But usually when they're crossed like that, they end up polled, so with no horns. So we've learnt to always have a bag of lamb formula on hand, because usually once a year we'll have an orphaned or a bottle baby. So Squizzy is going to make up some milk for her because this is his project, isn't it? He's pretty excited that it's a little lamb girl, so we don't get attached to it and then eat it, because this is the reality of farm life. So I'll pull this out and we'll read the instructions, hey?
Yep.
Do you want to pull it out, or do you want me to pull it out?
So we're waiting for that.
So, yeah. So, pop it up here. When, it's also good to have colostrum on hand, because you can't give this to an orphan lamb that's had no colostrum, because they will just die. So I make my own colostrum, not personally. Make it with raw milk. Generally I have access to that. And then in a litre I pop in an egg from our farm, because it has all the bacteria that the gut needs to produce an immune response, I guess. And then I put in a teaspoon of cod liver oil, and that helps them poop like the colostrum would. Helps get that out of them, otherwise they won't be able to poop and they'll die. And a teaspoon of glucose, and you can pop in probiotics if you want, but I've raised a couple of lambs on that, and it's been an awesome little recipe, great to have in a pinch if you can't get colostrum from another ewe or a cow. That works beautifully. So anyway, we're going to mix up this milk and attempt to give it its first bottle, which is always fun because they never want to take it. And I forgot about my breakfast in the oven with everything that was going on. I got distracted skimming cream off milk, and then this lamb distracted me. So it's a little overcooked, but it's still good. And I'll have breakfast while the water's warming up to make this bottle, and while we're mixing up the milk. Okay. So now you need to put on the scale and zero it. Now, if we read this, I think it says, we need to warm up the water a little bit. So when the kettle boils, we'll put some boiling water in it.
So do I tip some of this?
Tip some of it out, yeah. Does it feel warm?
Yeah.
Okay. So, can you read the packet and see how much you need to add, how much powder you need to add to that?
So which one are we doing? That one?
No, that's the feeding instructions. We need to find the mixing instructions.
Yeah.
Yep.
190 grams.
Yep. So leave that on there,
Oh, yeah.
and you can tip it in. So there should be a scoop in there, I think.
Yeah, there is.
The next scoop, you might want to go a little bit slower so you don't go over the weight. That
190 was it?
Yep.
Yeah, up to 93.
Okay. Let's maybe put the warm water in first.
Right?
Yep. It's right. This line here. It's hard to see on this jug.
Yeah. So that much?
Yeah, and then put the rest warm.
Oh, fuck them more.
That's alright.
Can't really see the line.
A little bit more, Chris. The line's right here.
Sorry.
Line's right here.
Yeah.
Give it a mix, and then we'll put, I think we'll only give her a small feed to begin with because she isn't used to big feeds yet. So I think we'll do 250 mils, which is a quarter of it. You're going to spill. Yep,
between your legs. Push it back. Boy.
Is it drinking?
Has it got a taste for it? You might need to squeeze the nipple just a little so I can taste that it's milk.
I squeezed the bottle.
Okay. Don't squeeze it down its throat because sometimes they can breathe it in and they can drown.
Too busy eating grass.
So my paperwork is done and the lamb isn't interested in a bottle. So might try and move her on to pellets and see what we can do. So now I'm moving on to making butter and getting rid of some of this whey. So this is all the whey that came out of a basket of yogurt. I topped the yogurt up again. It went half full, I topped it up again, and this is all the liquid that's come out of it. This will go to the pigs. Waste not, want not, it's really high in protein. And I'll let it drain a little bit longer because we like a really thick and creamy yogurt. So I'm going to pop this into the milk bucket, the skim milk bucket, because I'm not doing anything with the skim milk this time. I left one of the buckets in my car by accident all day. Raw milk, it's fine. That's why I'm taking the cream off it, making butter and turning it into ghee. The milk isn't off, or the cream isn't off, but I won't make cheese with that milk because a different strain of culture or bacteria might have taken over, and I don't want to put all that time and effort into making cheese if it's not going to turn out the way that I intended it to. So anyway, I'm going to get on to processing this dairy, and then I think I can make lunch. I should make lunch first. The kids have eaten all my sweet potato that I made for me. And then I think I can put some laundry away and get onto some fun sewing. That's that creamy colour. When you cook from scratch and when you're homestead, you're always going to have a constant supply of dishes. It's never ending. This is the last batch of butter for, it was about 4 litres of cream. And so I'm just draining all the buttermilk out. I'm also not keeping the buttermilk just because, like I said, I left that milk in my car. Forgot about it when we were processing pigs on Saturday. We had 8 pigs to process, which is just getting them in the cool room, not butchering them yet. And I just got sidetracked and I left it in the car. Luckily it wasn't a hot day, but I've got all this beautiful butter that I'm going to make shelf-stable and turn into ghee. So amazing. But all the buttermilk, it will go to the pigs and turn that into bacon. So we left 5 girls out there in the paddock because we only processed the boys because we didn't want to get bore-taint as they were getting a little bit older, and we didn't want them to start impregnating the girls. Hopefully that didn't happen. Yeah, and we'll let the girls grow out for another 6 to 12 months until they're a little over 100 kilos. And then some of them are going to turn into bacon. One of them will turn into sausages, and then the rest will just be pork. And then that might be it for our pig journey. I don't know if we'll get piglets to continue on, but we just needed a little bit of a break because the workload was getting a little bit much and we just needed to simplify. And hopefully we've been able to do that. So yeah, I'm going to tip this buttermilk out into the bucket for the pigs, and then I'll get on to processing that butter into ghee. So I'm going to, it's a little bit warm, so I'm going to wash this under the cool ice water that is our rainwater, and then I'm going to squeeze out all the water that I can, and I'm going to cook it until the leftover milk solids start to caramelize, and then I can strain it out into a jar, let it cool before I put the lid on, and then I have ghee, and that is shelf stable for 12 to 24 months. It won't last that long because what is life without butter? Another load of dishes is going in. Like I said, life on a homestead, life cooking from scratch. We'll see you doing dishes all day long. So I have a few things on the go at the moment. I've got my ghee melting and then caramelizing. Got the kids' lunch on, which I forgot to turn on as I was prepping everything, and now I'm just going to get the lye ready to make the liquid cast iron soap because I forgot I had to do that before I could sew. And I think once I do this, I can maybe do a bit of sewing, and I'll leave the folding of the clothes till tomorrow. So you're my laundry. It's a little bit of a laundry slash office. This is where I make all my skincare. So it's not perfect. You're not going to find a perfect little house here. I am definitely not a perfect little housewife. I like my house being tidy, but it's never perfect. I have 3 kids that stay home full time, and it is what it is. So anyway, to make liquid cast iron soap, like I said, this is not going to be a tutorial. This is just a day in the life, but I'll give you a quick tip. You need a different sort of lye. So this is a special lye to make liquid soap. If you were to try to make liquid soap with regular lye that you make a bar soap with, it won't work and it will get all cloudy. So I am going to, I'm just trying to figure out if I'm doing 1 batch or 2 batches. I think I'll do 2. Or containers to make the lye solution because I want it to cool down somewhat, and then when my Thermomix is clean out of the machine after, because I've just made butter in it, then I can use that to make my soap, because my hand mixer, I think I blew the motor on it, which isn't great. But it is what it is. How's that? Cool. You still with me? Good. Okay. So, you know, if you're interested in making soap, I'm about to run a soap class to make liquid soap, but also follow all the safety instructions. I'm being a rebel. Don't do what I'm doing. But also use, like, if you just want to start without doing a class or whatever. Like this. Is that the one? Yep. Cool.
So,
Yep.
can you use that?
Sounds good. Use a soap calculator, and that's the best way you can formulate a soap recipe. So, yeah, that's my biggest bit of advice. So here I am mixing the lye with water, and I'm going to let this cool down for a little bit. This is the fabric I want to use. It makes me so happy. Can't remember where I got it from, possibly an op shop. And then I'm going to, because it's quite thin, very see-through, like can't wear this skirt with nothing underneath it. I'm going to use this old cot sheet that I had because the colours go nicely as the liner, and that way the skirt was free, and hopefully I can manage to sew it to look the way I want it to look. I'm thinking pleaty, you know, a nice little flouncy skirt. I also bought this men's shirt at the up shop. I think it cost me like a couple of bucks. My husband doesn't wear shirts, starters, and he definitely wouldn't wear a shirt like this. But I thought, what a gorgeous print. And I saw this upcycle tutorial on how to make a skirt from a shirt. So I'm going to attempt that with this. Also, you might notice my floors are bare concrete. That's because we had a fish tank here, my son's fish tank here. And the one day we went off the farm, we went to the beach for 15 hours. The water tank leaked all over my floor. I used to have this old, it's not old, but used to have this laminate flooring, and that just swells every time water sits on it. So that's what happened in my lounge room. So we're just waiting for insurance to come through now, so we can replace it with nice hardwood flooring. And I think my ghee is about to overflow. Yeah, we'll replace it with some nice hardwood flooring. And yeah, it's just a bit annoying. It's really cold in there because the concrete, there's no insulation between the concrete and the ground's super cold up here, especially at this time of year. So super cold in there at the moment. So that's a bit of a bugger, but hopefully we'll have it fixed in the next month or so. The fire went out earlier and it's getting on in the day. It's getting mid to late afternoon. And I know if I don't get this going and get some more heat into the house, even though it's comfortable at the moment, that as soon as that sun starts to dip, it's going to get really, really cold. And then it's hard. You have to use much more wood to kind of get that temperature back up. So gotta light the fire now. Getting nice and close, so you can see the butter fat really clearly now, that beautiful golden, and the milk solids are those foamy bits. So once they clump up just a little bit more and caramelize a little bit, you can see it's starting to caramelize there. I'll be able to strain it off and store it in jars. They are the milk solids that you get left with at the end, so you can see how caramelly they are and how beautiful and clear the ghee is. I'm going to leave these here to cool down. You don't want to put the lid on while they're hot, otherwise you're going to get condensation and that will spoil your ghee or go moldy. And once they're cool, I can pop the lids on and then they can be stored on your shelf. So we call these pachachos, which are just potatoes fried in some lard or tallow with some taco seasoning, and I've got the recipe on my Instagram page if you want the recipe for that. And then we serve it with sour cream and grated cheese, and so that's what the kids are going to eat for lunch today. Pretty standard lunch around here. The kids love it when I get them all these little crispy bits. Delicious. Takes a while though to get it all nice and crispy, but that's ready, so if they come in, they're hungry, they can serve themselves up. If not, I keep cooking it until they're ready.
May I have more potatoes, Mum? Am I allowed to?
See if Israel wants some first.
You would?
Mm-hmm.
It's so spicy.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like it though?
If you're gonna get your potatoes.
So I'm back in my laundry measuring out my soap, and I'll get that on and then I'll have some free time finally, I don't think I'm going to get to sew my skirt today. It's just going to be too late by the time I then stop to start dinner. But I will patch a couple of pairs of jeans that I have, so at least I'll get creative a little bit later today. So this is, can't really see me and everything because that's just the angle of my laundry at the moment. But this is a liquid cast style soap, which means it's an olive oil soap. So I'm going to get on that now. I make it in my Thermomix mainly because my stick mixer has gone to stick mixer heaven. But yeah, I'll get this on and I'll just show you some of the process, and I'll let you guys know when I'm running the class on how to make a liquid cast style soap, because that will be much more in depth than this could ever be.
And so I just measure out all my olive oil and my glycerine, and then I blend it up until it comes to a trace and pop it in my slow cooker and cook it until it's ready. I bought these jeans from the op shop and I love the colour. I love this washed denim look. But they were seconds. I bought them as seconds. So they were brand new, but they were seconds. And I didn't realise that they had a big old Stanley knife slit through them. So I've already fixed them up once. But there must have been another weak spot here, and I got another rip. So I've just, I think you call that like an embroidery stitch. I've stitched it up, and you know, they're not pretty. The stitches aren't pretty, but at least I can use them again because they're so comfy. Super, super comfy jeans. But anyway, at least I've got a little bit more life through them. I am going to wrap up the vlog now. It is late afternoon. The soap's in, did a little bit of sewing, got everything else on the list ticked off. I'm going to just chill for an hour before I have to assemble dinner. Like I said yesterday, I prepped everything because we had the same thing last night. I didn't realize there'd be enough for tonight as well. So I just need to cook the pork because we're having sweet and sour pork. And I just need to cook the pork. The sauce is already done. I'll put some rice on for everyone else. I won't have rice. And then I'll have my Zoom meeting tonight for the self-sufficiency. So now I'll leave this to cook for about 12 hours, students can come and ask any questions that they have, or just chat about self-sufficiency and ways that they can become more self-sufficient. Yeah, and that's the day done. That is day in the life of me, a winter edition, where not much is happening in the garden. It was a lovely day today. It was still and it was sunny. It was about 13 degrees Celsius. But this was a rest day for me, as in taking a season of rest, not doing anything, not pushing anything, but getting little bits done, because life still goes on even when you're resting. So yeah, that is my day in the life. If you like this video, let me know and I can film more of them. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later.